And welcome back. Mott Haven is one of the Bronx's poorest and most economically compromised neighborhoods, but its status as one of New York City's untapped waterfront communities has led to an actual development boom in the area. Now, as a result, the neighborhood is now teaming up with large-scale residential developments, with more on the way as 20 residential projects and more than 5,000 combined apartments are expected to be constructed over the next few years. Joining me now to share a little bit more, we've got the director of B6 Real Estate Advisors, Mitchel Flaherty. And Mitchel, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me back, Daren. Appreciate your time.
Yes. Glad to have you back. And if you're living in the Mott Haven section, certainly a lot of people have seen new construction go up. A lot of people have been having concerns as to what's going to actually happen in that neighborhood. But as we see, more and more development is going this way. Give us some insight into what Mott Haven is going to look like.
Yeah, well, I think it's very exciting times for Mott Haven. There's obviously a lot of development going on. 5,000 units coming online within the next 5 years, as you mentioned. It's important that a component of the new market rate housing being built is affordable to serve the local Bronxites. So that leads on to a key component of the 421A tax abatement, which we discussed last time I was on the show, being extended. Currently, that program expires in June of this year, June the 15th. So we're waiting to hear back from Albany in terms of whether that program is going to be extended or what the new program is going to look like. But Mott Haven in 5 to 10 years' time is going to look like a very different place than it does today.
A lot of people are saying that, and we know that there's been plenty of questions that have been asked about Mott Haven, particularly in the area of affordable housing. As a lot of this new construction and new development goes, excuse me, people worried about affordable housing. What do we see affordable housing looking like under this new development?
So under the current rules, to get the 421A tax abatement, 30% of the units have to be affordable. The affordability is based on the AMI bands of the area. So AMI is an acronym for Area Median Income. So HBD, which is a government New York organized institution, they take an average of the area income in the area, and then they try and justify the rents based on the income for that area. So there should be a lot of affordable units coming online within these projects. A lot of them are applied for via Housing Lottery, via Housing Connect, for any of your viewers that are interested. But another area, apart from Mott Haven, where we're seeing a lot of affordable housing being built is Jerome Avenue. Jerome Avenue was rezoned back in March 2018, purposely for affordable development, where there was an MIH component. MIH means mandatory inclusionary housing. So any developer that's building along that Jerome Avenue corridor has to do a large portion of affordable units. So in order to get out of a housing crisis, you have to build more, you have to increase the supply, because at the moment we're not building enough. So any rezoning and development that's taking place and that's adding units to the borough, in my eyes, is a good thing.
Well, you got a 37% poverty rate right there in Mott Haven. And so we know what that means for people in the area. But when we look at types of properties being developed, we know that there's a question and a call for a lot of mixed use property, where that means simply you'll have a building on a commercial building possibly on the bottom level and a residential on the top. What can you tell us about mixed use as it's coming to Mott Haven?
Yeah, so that's a good point, actually. So you're seeing a lot more schools come to the area, like KIPP. They're a big charter school in New York. They bought a site on 138th, the old taxi cab lot. They're building a 200,000 square foot building there. There's another one on Grand Concourse, which is the school. I think it's Success Academy with residential apartments above. So when you're building all these residential units, it's important to create a community and add to that community with different use types. So the Bronx, the Mott Haven is definitely under-retailed. And I think that, you'll start to see new retailers come into the area as new residents move in, because it just creates a community along with schools and other, like local, I think there's a local book on Alexander Avenue. So as I mentioned, as you're building all these units, you need to add different use types to make it a real community.
Yeah. For us, who's asking the question, you'll see Mott Haven on the map in terms of a developing and a burgeoning community. We know that over the course of the next few years, it's going to look totally different. But what's it going to look like for those people who surround the Mott Haven neighborhood? What kind of impact can we see in these communities?
Well, hopefully these affordable units can be built that can serve the existing populations. That's the purpose. We don't want them to have to be forced out of their, their current neighborhood they've grown up in. So as I mentioned, the extension of the 429A tax payment is key to building these affordable units, because otherwise it just doesn't make economic sense for developers to build, because the reality is real estate taxes in New York are very high. So as long as the 429A is extended and developers get that tax payment to build affordable units, then I'm hopeful that a lot of the residents can stay in the area.
There is one particular property on 351 Powers Avenue, and I wanted to bring that up in specific because when we talk about 351 Powers Avenue, looking at residents are actually going to have an opportunity, or I should say the community is going to have an opportunity to share their voice in terms of how this property and what it looks like. Am I correct?
I don't know that property in particular, but most affordable units are obtained via a housing lottery. So any local resident that lives in the area can apply for the housing lottery to get the affordable unit. They should have to go on housingconnect.com. A lot of locals don't know about that, but it's important, for us, people advocates in the industry, to reach out to them and show them the path how to, get an affordable housing unit.
Why is Mott Haven considered to be the key place where we're seeing a lot of this development? Is it because there's a lot of waterfront parks around there?
Well, yeah, if you look at anywhere in the world, there's always a premium for real estate on the water, just given the views of the skyline. There also, is the land base of Mott Haven is relatively low in comparison to areas of Brooklyn and Long Island City. So, and another great thing is that it's transportation access into Manhattan is so quick. You can get into Midtown in 15 minutes. So its location, its transport infrastructure, along with the waterfront, makes it poised well for developers to want to come in and build in the area.
Admittedly, though, it's a little bit challenging and an uphill battle, considering the fact that there's been this rezoning. I think rezoning has really opened the door and opened a gateway for a lot of this development to be able to take place. So if you're a neighborhood resident, somehow you're still under the the stronghold, if you will, of being able to have your voice heard, given the fact that rezoning has opened the door for a lot of stuff that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, that's why on Jerome Avenue, as mentioned, that rezoning had an MIH component, which means the developer would have to do affordable housing. I'm not involved in rezoning policies in New York, but the understanding, there was a lot of undeveloped waterfront in Mott Haven. So the last administration thought it would be advantageous to the area to rezone and create more units being built. Sorry, excuse me.
No worries.
So yeah, I think the important component is the affordability. Obviously, I'm a big advocate for affordable housing development. I think it's key on all different levels. Even in the high income level, there's not affordable housing units, and the low income level and the medium income level. So, as I mentioned before, when there's a housing shortage, rents are going to rise. So to get out the affordable housing crisis, you need to increase the number of units being built, which New York City has not done.
How does it feel for you? Because when you think about be probably the most active when we talk about development zones across the 5 boroughs, Mott Haven seems to be that place, and you're connected right there to it. So what's that feeling like for you?
Well, it's interesting because I speak to a lot of owners in the area, and what their plans are. A lot of them have been in the area for a long time. Obviously, a lot of their property values have gone up, and I represent my clients selling their building from a high price, so they're happy with the current values. But also, a lot of them are just wanting to stay in the area and continue to see the growth of the area, and they're generational owners, so they'll pass it on to their children, etc. But there's certainly a lot going on. There's a lot. I think Douglason Development bought the last site available on the water last week, which is on 138th and Madison Avenue Bridge. So as I mentioned, Mott Haven is going to look like a very different place in 5 years' time.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to see what Mott Haven has, and certainly we'll continue to, make our viewers aware and those who are aware of what's going on in the Mott Haven area. Mitchel Flaherty, thank you so much for being with us again, and of course, got to have you back as we continue to have this conversation. Thank you, Daren. Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it, and yeah, look forward to making some time. Appreciate having you. All righty. Well, want to let you know if you want more information, please visit the website B6 Real Estate. advisors.com, and there you can find more information about what is going on in Mott Haven. We are taking a quick break, and we've got more show. Open Go will continue coming up right after this.